like electricity. It's us moving to the sound. Your hips are all I need.
What is up guys, Grosh Gaming here. Welcome back to another Clash Royale video. Have a look at this. Master 3 is what I got to last season. So I finished on 5525 trophies. My personal best last season I got to was 5591, which was pretty annoying because I really wanted to get 5600 but couldn't quite manage it. And we will be talking about the deck that got me there in this video. But first off, I want to open the draft reward chest. So we will see what we get out of that. 6,870 gold. Fireball is the easy choice there. Extra gold or extra gold. We're going to go for extra gold there. 3 musk or pump. I'm probably going to go for pump because I use golem beatdown. I want to try and use golem beatdown when my pump is level 10. Right. So heal or wizard. I think I'm going to go for heal because obviously I don't really use the wizard and it's fine to try and level up the heal a little bit maybe. Ice Wiz or Princess, both 4 out of 10. I can see myself using Princess maybe later on. Bowler or Dragon, Baby Dragon. As I'm going to try and use Golem Beatdown when my levels are a bit better, I think Baby Dragon would be better for the level 7 Baby Drag. So we are going to go for that one. Not a bad chest at all. Right guys, moving on to the deck guide. Here it is. So it's a 2.9 Hog cycle deck, which is mainly for ladder, I would say. This is what got me to 5,500. It's a pretty beastly deck, and obviously this is the main Hog cycle deck that you've probably seen, the 2.6. So this is probably the original deck. However, this variation works better for me on ladder because I'm able to max the knight, max the archers, and the Inferno is much better for me against bigger tanks. Because I face higher golems, so I face like a 7 or an 8 golem, or a max lava hound and a max balloon. So the Inferno just provides a bit more firepower on defense. And obviously my musketeer is only level 9, whereas my archers are max level. So that makes a huge difference because the musketeer can be fireballed most of the time, pretty much all the time anyway, making her pretty much useless. And I'm not too bothered if someone fireballs my archers because that's a -1 trade for them. And so yeah, substitutions for this deck. You can change to this deck if you do have the correct levels. This one works really well in grand challenges. But anyway, yeah, you can sub obviously that for the cannon, the Inferno Tower for the cannon, Knight for Ice Golem, that for Musketeer. You can go Fireball for poison, but obviously the Fireball provides an instant damage, which is nice. And you can sub the Log for a Zap, because it can be more reactive against a Skarmy or something like that. So that's definitely useful, and some people prefer the Zap one. But I used the Log on the ladder. And what I'm going to do is just throw up a couple of replays that I thought was quite nice. So, and I'll just talk through the deck as we go. You can kind of listen to me and look at the replay at the same time. So this guy had 4 hog counters in his deck. So he had Elite Barbarians, Cannon, Tornado, and I believe there was something else, but we will see in a moment. So a few key points with this deck. You want to, number 1, outcycle your opponent's hog counters. So you're able to do this by cycling your cards faster than the opponent. And also the archers are probably your most valuable card for defending, as you want to get as much value out of them as possible.
Are you sure about that?
And in double elixir, don't be afraid to just fireball the opponent's tower, because it's 4 elixir, same as a hog, and in double elixir you might not be able to outcycle their counters to your hog. So see if that makes sense. Just fireballing the tower is better than throwing away a hog, because you could possibly catch a building or catch a troop in there. So I would say some of the most irritating hog counters that you will face will be the bowler, tornado, the E-Wiz and the E-Barbs, which you might face a fair few of the E-Barbs on the ladder, so you definitely got to work out ways to outcycle your opponent's E-Barbs or whatever their counter is, and also keep track of their cycle so you know when to play the hog and when not to send him just to his death. Right. So I was saying wow at this point because I saw how many different hog counters he had and I didn't really know how on earth I was going to win this game. So we went in with a hog down the other lane to apply some pressure, and he missed the cannon, which was nice for us. And this is a really valuable fireball there. Shuts everything down. And as he used his elite barbarians there, I thought it was a good time to go in with the hog and try and get some decent damage dealt to his tower. Obviously the tornado is such a huge hog counter, so that's pretty annoying as always. So in double elixir, just getting those fireballs in there, getting trying to get the tower damage dealt. See the archer on the left hand side, he didn't deal with it, so it's doing massive damage to his tower. And don't underestimate the power of Ice Spirit plus archers on defense. They are super strong. And here we go, here comes the cycle of spells right at the end of the game. So just play it safe. He actually let my Ice Spirit hit the tower, sorry. Which I think helped me win the game. Yeah, the fireball wouldn't have done it. The fireball log wouldn't have done it. So he had quite a few hog counters there, so that was definitely a hard game to win. So what did he have? Yeah, cannon, elite barbs, and tornado with 3 main counters there. So that's pretty irritating. And I'll just throw up this replay here against a Royal Giant, because I know a lot of people do have trouble beating Royal Giants with barbs or whatever they throw against you. So moving on, always separate your archers from your Inferno Tower so that you don't give the opponent any good value for their spells when you're trying to defend. So yeah, you want to have the Inferno Tower at a 4-3 plant against big tanks. So if there's a golem coming at you, go with the 4-3 plant, and that will pull it. And then use your archers in the corner. So say on the left hand side here, I've got the archer. Whereabouts the archer is, you want to have him. You want to have her towards the wall, and then the Inferno Tower in a 4-3 plant. And also, when the opponent drops a big tank, you want to pressure the opposite side with hog and maybe an Ice Spirit, or hog and skeletons. So that applies a decent amount of pressure, because if they don't deal with that, that's going to do massive damage to the tower. If it's getting later on in the game and they drop a big tank, you can definitely go with the knight and then the hog behind, because that's definitely going to get some tower damage if they've already dropped, say, an 8 elixir golem or a 5 elixir giant. And starting hands with this deck, I wouldn't worry too much about your starting hand, because you can always cycle out pretty cheaply. So if you don't have the hog in hand or anything like that, you can always throw down some cheap cards and get back to the hog as soon as possible. So obviously here I couldn't use the Inferno Tower because of the way he did the minion horde. So that wasn't a problem, because it let me build up a big counter push to take this left hand tower. And if you know they have Skarmy, always get that predictive log ready if you don't think they're going to have any other counters in hand. And check that out. Check how good the archers are. They are doing just some crazy damage. I think he gave up at this point. Oh no, not quite. I thought he was going to use the barbs on the right. So yeah, learn your opponent's cycle, learn their counters, and get the predictions ready. So get the prediction logs, the fireballs, Get all of that ready, and you will be able to take down towers pretty easily. So that was quite a nice prediction fireball there. Didn't quite get the 3 crown on this guy, but we absolutely shut him down in all areas. So that's how strong this deck is. Yep, so unlucky not to get the 3 crown, but overall very happy with the way that that game was played. Also, another substitution I have seen is, instead of the Inferno Tower, I've seen Tornado in there. So Tornado as another defensive option, but usually people will have the Musketeer in there instead. So what we're going to do is go into maybe a couple of live ladder games to see how this deck works. So let's jump into that and see if I can talk through the tips as we go. Good luck. Another important tip, I think it's from Marcel P. Don't be afraid to take a negative trade when cycling in order to outcycle your opponent's counters to get them into your cycle. So what you can do at the start is throw down a Lonely Hog to see what their counter is. So skeletons, I'm thinking this might be the Mortar deck. No, apparently not. So he let me get quite a bit of damage on that tower for no reason. So I'm wondering what he's got for me. A level 8 Hog. Probably didn't even need the Inferno Tower, but there we go. So we're just going to throw this down again. So I am a bit over leveled for this guy, but so that kind of makes it easier for me to talk through what is going on. So Tornado is a Hog counter. That's the only proper Hog counter I've seen so far. So what I'm going to do is just split archers at the back. That's a perfectly fine move to make with this deck. We'll throw that down for now, and then what we want to do is cycle back to a Hog, if it'll load. That placement was a bit dodgy. So he's only got skeletons. Skeletons, Ice Spirit. My Hog should still get 1 shot. And he's probably going to come back at me with the Hog Rider. So the Inferno Tower is going to be key here. We'll see what he does first, and then we'll react accordingly. If he doesn't have a zap, that will be absolutely fine. So as you can see, we are chipping down his tower. Very nicely. So split the archers again at the back. They defend both sides. And you know what? We're going to throw a fireball in here because he has his Tornado back in cycle. So I don't actually want to push here. So I'm going to get a bit of extra value here. And because he played his Hog there, I can get a nice Inferno placement here. So he spent a fair amount of elixir. So what I'm going to do is throw a Hog down, and he's going to have the Tornado. Yeah, but we're still going to get a fireball in there anyway. So at this point, it looks like we're probably just going to have to fireball this guy out. Maybe get the odd Hog shot when we can. And what I'm going to do here is not use the Inferno, but just use my other troops. So his Hog didn't get a single shot. And we're going to predictive fireball here. And he misses the Hog with the Tornado. Didn't catch anything with the fireball, but we're still going to... we're going to be able to take down the tower in a second, so watch this, very quick cycle. So all I need to do now is throw a fireball. Well played, good game. So I was a bit over leveled for that guy, but it was nice to show how to play the deck effectively against the Tornado. But he didn't have a tower, so Tornado was his only real Hog counter, so I was able to get some damage done early on. And then kind of fireball, cycle him out. So let's play again. Good luck. So with this starting hand, what I want to do is wait for a second and then drop some skeletons. So there we go. That's perfect. So that's probably a log bait, but I'm not worried. Okay, wow. That was a really bad play by him. I don't know why he did that. But I've got the knight going down, and I'm going to throw the archers. and get the hog in there as well. So this is a fairly big push, and he might have the Scammy, but so he's got the barbarians. Not to worry. So that was just kind of testing him out. So he's got the barbarians to counter, which I can fireball and log if needed. And check this out. So you can pull the skeletons. No, pull the barbarians. Sorry. And what we will do here is mitigate any damage whatsoever. Can't speak. And as it's early on in the game, I'm just going to keep splitting the archers and testing him out. So thanks for that. Nice bit of fireball value there. And we're going to kite these, kite the minions, and then what we're going to do here is get the knight on the Ice Whiz and the musketeer. And check this out, he's going to have his barbarians back in cycle. So what we're going to do is fireball, predictive fireball, and the knight is actually doing a decent bit of work on 2 of them barbarians. So check that out, guys. Predictive fireball, because I knew he had his barbs back in cycle. And I was able to cycle back to my fireball after fireballing the 3 musks. So that was a very key play in this game. I have the idea... Oh, I thought he might have given up. Never mind. Just wanted to get a bit of extra value out of that archer on the left. Thought I could fireball there. And what we're going to do is log away that musketeer. So yeah, what I'm going to do is just fireball here, and I'm going to go with an Ice Spirit, which should take out the princess on that left hand side. I don't really need to throw a hog down, but I'm going to do it anyway. And 1 elixir skeletons on the left. There we go. And for the right hand side, a knight. And obviously the split archers do some decent work. And then that's it. Fireball that tower. So he barely even touched my tower at all. Good game. So the play of the game was definitely that fireball on the barbarians, whilst the hog was being tanked for with the knight. So the knight was key in there as well. Tell you what we'll do. We'll play, and I'll just talk about some other tips. So, beating Lavaloon. This deck can definitely beat Lavaloon, as you've got the Inferno Tower. Compared to the other Hog Cycle deck, which doesn't have Inferno, it has Cannon. So the Inferno is definitely key in taking down the Lavaloon, with the archers spread out from the Inferno Tower, and the knight maybe tanking some of the support troops. That will be absolutely fine. Let's get a nice log in there. And this Ice Spirit will do just fine. Not too worried about this. I'm going to use that knight there in front so that it tanks for my push. So we've got quite a decent push coming at him now. Weird fireball. So what I'm going to do is perhaps predictive fireball over here. So the fireball wasn't even necessary, but we're still going to get a decent amount of damage dealt. We're going to leave those goblins because they get 2-shotted and don't even touch my tower. So definitely keep an eye out for that kind of thing when you don't need to spend elixir defending. So this is actually not a bad matchup because I kind of wanted to show like a bait. So that he tried to distract my Inferno Tower basically there, and I was able to shut it down with the Knight. And the Knight and Ice Spirit is such a powerful combination. So here we go. I'm just going to use skeletons for this because he's not going to throw anything else down. So that was a positive 2 trade for me. And I'm going to throw down the Hog Rider here because I'm guessing he's going to use Inferno Tower, which is another positive trade for me. And he goes with a wrong placement, so positive 1 trade plus 2 tower hits. So very nice there. And you can cycle back to your log fairly quickly against bait as well, so That's why I really like this deck. You know what? We're not even going to bother putting anything else down because I can't remember what was going on the left-hand side, but we shut it down really easily. Here we go. So at this point, I'm probably going to fireball him out, but we will see. So we're going to go with the Hog Rider, and then we're going to throw a predictive log in there. And we're going to defend his Hog with an Ice Spirit and the Archers. And I know I was a little bit over-leveled again, but same principles. You can definitely use the log on the Goblin Barrel if you want, or use it on something else and cycle back to it really quickly. Graveyard decks. You can definitely beat graveyard decks. The Archers are really good against the graveyard. You can throw them at the back. Have the Knight to take out the supporting troops. Or you can switch it up. You can do the Knight on the graveyard with the Skeletons. Then use the Inferno Tower on the supporting troops. And have the Archers at the side or something like that. You know, spread your troops out evenly. And say if they have a big tank or two big tanks like Bowler and Baby Dragon, you can definitely use the Inferno Tower then, and then use Knight and Log for the graveyard. Switch it up each time you defend it so that they don't know how to counter your defenses, and you can definitely beat it. You can pretty much beat anything with this deck. That's why it is so strong. So guys, I think that's going to do it for the tips for today, as we've shown 2 replays with some really nice plays in there and some nice tips, and then we've played a few live games showcasing some of the tips that I talked about and just how to play the deck really efficiently. So obviously predictions are quite key with this deck sometimes. Learn your opponent's counters, learn your opponent's cycle, and know when and when not to play the Hog. So don't just send him to his death every single time you get him in your hand, because that will end up really bad and you'll end up losing. But thanks for watching as always. Let me know if you've got any comments or questions. Put them in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to reply. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.